Wouldn't it be nice to have your fleet organized in such a way that you could easily obtain crucial data points by the different groups of vehicles? Wouldn't it be great to be able to share and compare your data with other fleets and industry standards quickly and easily? Strong, accurate data is imperative, both public and private, not only for purposes of benchmarking and fleet analysis, but also to help validate your operation and guard against outsourcing fleet services. Well, there is a way to quickly and easily organize your fleet so you can gather these crucial data statistics, and it's by using the APWA equipment codes. The APWA equipment code list allows for the classification of all fleet equipment, on-road, off-road, powered, and non-powered, to be divided and classified into main groups and subgroups. The APWA equipment classification codes are an industry standard that allows for a uniform classification and grouping across all fleets in a uniform manner, thereby allowing for easy identification and comparison. Additional benefits in utilizing the APWA equipment codes allow the ability to identify essential characteristics of each vehicle in the fleet, users to share information easily. There are many fields that have room for user-defined specifications. User to provide the inclusion of additional types of equipment. User to accommodate future vehicles and equipment industry developments. User to improve data handling, sharing, and analysis capabilities. The APWA equipment code works great for public and private fleets around the world. You can easily see how your fleet of dump trucks compare to those in the 50 leading fleets or to one of the private sectors. So how does it work? The system uses a 10-digit alphanumeric code to classify each piece of equipment. The code is further modularized so that each digit or set of digits in a particular position can be used to further specify certain characteristics of the equipment. The best way to explain an equipment code is to walk through building one. Let's use a garbage truck. All you will need are a few key identifying factors. In this example, our code is 140D8BNA5Z. The first 5 digits allow for the capturing of the main fleet benchmarking data, so in reality, you could just use the 5 digits and have all the data points to successfully compare your fleet to the industry standard, or you can more specifically drill down your data to identify specifics. The first digit will identify the piece of equipment into its major class. For example, the number 1 identifies the major class as the trucks, refuse compacting. The number 2 identifies the major class as trucks, street sanitation and sewer cleaning. The digits are 1 through 9 and A through Z. This makes for 25 major classification codes. The exceptions are the letters D, H, I, L, M, O, Q, U, W, and X are not currently used at this time. So, if we were to classify a vehicle, we would start by picking the first digit to represent our major classification and grouping. For example, we will use an automated side-loading garbage truck. Therefore, the first digit would be the number 1, trucks and refuse compacting. The next 2 digits, positions 2 and 3, are the only paired digits in the code. The 2 digits are used to further separate the equipment into a subgroup of the major classifications. To separate our example vehicle from all the other rear loaders, front loaders, etc., which would also use the number 1 in the first position of the equipment code, we would use the code 40. This indicates that our example vehicle is a truck, compactor, side loading. If this side loader we are using as an example was only for recycling, we would use the code 60 instead, which would identify the unit as a truck recycling side loading. This makes the drilling down for information much quicker and simpler. If I want to find out specific data pertaining to my recycling fleet of side loaders, I can search my fleet for the classification containing the first 3 digits, 160, of the equipment code via my FMIS, Fleet Management Information Systems, and the data I want is for the recycling side loaders, is free of any unwanted data from any other pieces of equipment, such as my regular household solid waste, which would be 140 as in our example vehicle. The next digit, in position 4, is used to show the energy source of the unit. There are 24 possible energy sources to choose from. Our example unit is a diesel, so the digit in the code position number 4 would be a D. If the vehicle used compressed natural gas, the 4th digit would be a C, and if it ran off of gasoline, the 4th digit would be a G, and so on. So far, we have built out the code for our example unit to 140D. This translates to a truck, compactor, side-loading, diesel. Looking good, but we need one more digit filled to be able to really compare our example vehicle to ones in other fleets. The industry standard is to use the first 5 digits at a minimum when making comparisons using fleets, because the 5th digit sets the GVW, gross vehicle weight rating. The 5th digit subcategorizes the equipment into appropriate GVWs, gross vehicle weight. A 6,000-pound GVW unit will get significantly different data points than a 33,000-pound GVW unit. Therefore, we separate them out. There are 19 classification codes for the digit identifying on-road versus off-road and truck versus truck and trailer. Our example unit would use the code 8, which identifies it as having a GVW in excess of 33,001 pounds, and it is a truck only. If our example had been a truck-trailer combo that had a 2,000-pound GVW, we would use code C in the 5th position. Positions 6 through 10 are not as crucial when using the classification codes to compare your fleet to the industry benchmarks or other fleets. The next 5 positions in the classification code are more for you to be able to drill down and really get specific about your piece of equipment. They are designed to be user-defined and customizable. The 6th digit describes how the unit will be used, and through that information affect the PM, preventative maintenance, schedule and frequency would be. Start the selection of this digit by asking questions like, what will the motor pool be? Will it be using a passenger transportation, or will it be used by the police? How severe will the operating conditions be? For example, a police interceptor will have much more harsh use on a regular basis than an administrative vehicle. This code can be very subjective when being assigned, so you will need to use your best judgment or industry standard based on how you know your fleet is being utilized. I will pick the digit for this position in our example vehicle based on how I set up the garbage trucks in my fleet. I would choose the code B because a side loader receives a lot of stop and go action, and the arms make its full movements at least 1,000 times a day, so I want to look at this unit more often than I would a supervisor's vehicle. The 7th digit in the code will identify the engine size. This is good information to have for a number of reasons, like the carbon footprint of the fleet and where changes can be made to lower fuel consumption. I know that the engine size in our example unit is 9 liters, so I would choose the letter N for this position. N is for the engine size from 9 liters to 9.99 liters. Our example unit is taking shape as we have 7 digits, and the code is now 140D8BN. This translates to a truck, compactor, side loading, diesel, GVW greater than 33,001 pounds, general use, severe PM schedule based on OEM recommendations, and it has a 9-liter engine. That's a lot of data for those 7 digits. The 8th digit sets the drive type and wheel configuration. Here is where you assign the number of drive axles and tires. If the unit is a motorcycle that has 2 wheels with only one being driven, you would use code 0. If it were a trailer, you would pick code Q for 2 axles non-driven. Our example unit has 1 drive axle, 1 passive axle, and 1 steer axle, so we would choose code A for 10 wheels, 4 driven. The 9th digit is to identify the transmission type and gear range. Our example unit is a 6-speed automatic, so the code entry for this position would be 5. If we were doing a trailer, we would use code Z, signifying that this part of the code is not applicable to the unit. Finally, the 10th digit is a unit-defined section for any attachment such as a snowplow, salt spreaders, or to indicate the capacity of a dump bed or hopper. For our example unit, I am going to use code Z, which is the not applicable code since I do not want to define anything in this section. So there you have it. Our example unit has been assigned an APWA equipment code that will now allow us to track the unit more easily and to compare data from the classification group to benchmark against industry standards and other fleets. We can now assign all of our truck, compactor, side-loading, diesel, GVW greater than 33,001 pounds, general use severe PM schedule based on OEM, original equipment manufacturer, recommendations, and it has a 9-liter engine, 10 wheels, 4 driven, with 6-speed automatic transmission. The classification code is 140D8BNA5Z. Uniformity and ease of use is the key to a well-organized FMIS, and the APWA fleet equipment codes are a must-have to reach that goal.